Good morning. If your Bible's like you turn me to Psalms 91, verse 4. That's Psalms 91, verse 4. And I should be telling you, we're going to read from English Standard Version of the Bible. When you hear it, please say amen. Psalms 91 verse 4 says, He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and a bunker. I'm going to title this lesson, The Covering of God. All right. Now, let's look at our book for a moment. Now, Psalms 91 is written by Moses and is an Old Testament book. It's one of the 37 books of the Old Testament. Now, I want to tell a little story before we kind of dive a little bit more into our lesson. I was watching this documentary, a couple years ago, and it had this baby bear cub, right? And it was being attacked by this wolf or a cougar. And so the mama bear comes in, slaps the wolf away, and then hugs the baby. Now, I thought about that when it came to this lesson, and it brought some components to me. Okay, the wolf is the devil. The baby cub is us, and the mama bear is God. Now, in the documentary, the mama bear did what it could and succeeded in protecting its child, just like God does for us. He protects us. Now, as Christians, we face, not just Christians, but we face a multitude of things. We face the threat of nuclear war, mass shootings, hurricanes, you name it. We face it in today's world. But God's protection, but when it comes to God's covering, it means that he has us within his hands. You see, God has a divine hedge of protection around us and upon us. And before anything can come upon us, it has to go through him. All right, so I brought my first prop here. Okay, so anybody know what this is? An umbrella, okay. All right, so this umbrella represents God's protection, all right? Now, we're under the umbrella of God. And what does that mean? Well, you are under God's umbrella, all right? So God's umbrella is upon you. So that means that whatever rain hits you, it has to go through the umbrella first. I mean, whatever you go through in life, it has to go through God's first. All right. It has to go through God. All right. Now we are all needing God's protection every single day of our lives. If God's protection wasn't upon us, we would be dead or worse. But because he has his covering on us, we are still standing and not gone. Because God watches out for us, we're still here. Now the devil will attack us, and he doesn't take a vacation like we do. All right. So if the devil can't get to us, then he will use somebody else to bring us down. All right. And what do you mean by that, Reverend White? Well, I'm glad you asked. All right, so look at the Garden of Eden, right? With Adam, Eve, and the serpent, all right? So Adam was so close to God that Satan used Eve to get to him. See, sometimes the devil can't get to us, because we're so close to God. So he'll use somebody close to us. And that's what he did in the garden. That's what he did in the garden. See, he didn't go directly to Adam. He used Eve to get to Adam. And the same thing can be said about us. The devil won't just use the devil won't just use your family. He'll use your friends. He'll use anybody he can get his hands on to attack us. You see, and our enemies, and see, it's funny. He'll use anybody. He doesn't care who he uses to get to you. He don't care who he uses, Our enemies may have a plan or a plot for our downfall. But because God's covering, their plan wasn't fulfilled. Because God had us covered, their plan wasn't fulfilled. You see, there are folks out there who wanted to stone us like they did Stephen. There are folks who wanted to crucify us like Christ. But because God's covering, that their plan didn't succeed. in times of trouble, the best place to be is under God's covering. It's the best place to be. You see, and if God removed his hedge of protection from us, we would have surely died. But because his hedge is upon us or around us, we're still standing. We're still standing. We ought to be thankful for God's covering within our lives. You know, we have survived due to the covering of God on us. We have survived because of his covering upon us. We made it through and out of our Red Seas because of God's covering.
Yes, thank you.
We made it. And see, and look at, if you look at the scripture, Job 14:1, it says, even though, you know, we will have days filled with trouble, right? But look at these scriptures I'm about to give you. Look at these scriptures. You know that Jesus is our shield. Know that God is our shield. Psalms 28:7. Know that God is our shepherd. Psalms 23:1. Know that Jesus Christ is our refuge. Psalms 46:1. Know that God is with us. Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 6. Know that he will make your enemies your footstool. Psalms 110 verse 1. And know that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Isaiah 54. And that's how we survived. You know, even though we go through trouble, God was our shepherd. God was our shield. God made our enemy our footstool. And that's because of his covering upon us. You see, and, you know, and that's how we survived, you know. Having God's covering doesn't give us the right to live dangerously. I hope you know that. Having God's covering doesn't give us the right to do what we want to do, to go out and do what we want to do. Yeah, to test God. It doesn't give us the right to do that. Some people do try to test God, though. I've sure prayed for folks, but don't test God. You see, the Lord protects us from certain situations as well in our lives, you know. And whether it be people, relationships, or whatever it may be. And I'm going to tell you something. Not everybody is out to protect us. Some want to destroy us. Some folks want to destroy us. And see, and, you know, and not everybody that's close to you, you know, that you call your friend is out to protect you. I hate to burst some people's bubble, but that's true. Not everybody you encounter is going to protect you. It may seem like it, but they're not out to protect you. You see, and we don't run after the thing that he's trying to protect you from either. Don't run after it, because you know it's funny. We run after a person or a situation, you know, and God is trying to protect you from that person or situation. He's trying to protect you, and when God is trying to protect you from them, it's for our good. It ain't for our bad, it's for our good when God is trying to protect us. Not just people, but also relationships with those people. You know, they may look good, but they may not be good. It's true. They may look good, but they might not be good. So don't get upset when we ask Jesus to remove our enemies and our so-called friends disappear. They vanish. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Because he's only asking your prayer. And he's doing it for your good. He's doing it for your good. You see, not just our so-called friends, but our family too. God has to remove some people from our lives to protect us. You know, people that we know that we know is no good, but we won't admit it. But also who God knows is no good for us. And sometimes he may not remove them, but he might remove us from the situation. All right. So, and you're probably asking, how do you figure that, Reverend White? Well, I'm glad you asked. Look at the situation of Joseph. His own brothers conspired against him. You see, and that's another point I want to touch on. It wasn't Joseph's friends that conspired against him; it was his family. And you have the same thing today. Some members of your family will conspire against you. Will conspire against you. See, God didn't remove Joseph's brothers; He removed Joseph. You would think in that situation, God would just say, "Okay, well, bye, Joseph." No. God removed Joseph from the situation. And sometimes, and like I say, sometimes God will remove the problem, but He'll remove us from it. You see, they wanted to kill Joseph. They wanted to kill him. They wanted to kill Joseph. But one brother had said, "No, don't kill him. Don't kill him." So, and it's a good thing that they didn't. If you read the story of Joseph, it's a good thing that they didn't, because if you read the story, Joseph ended up saving his brothers and everyone else, his family. He ended up saving them. So I bet if they, in my mind, I bet if they realized, they said, I'm so glad we didn't kill Joseph. I'm so glad that we didn't kill Joseph. All right, so, there's a lot of craze going on with these superhero movies coming out, with Black Panther and all these movies coming out, right? Infinity War, all that. It's funny, those superhero films, they seem like they protecting the city, right? But you don't realize something, that they got problems of their own they got to deal with. They can't, they're protecting the city, and things falling apart. They can't be here and be there, it's only one person. But I'm here to tell you that Jesus is able to protect us. Because in the new movie in this new movie called Infinity War if you watch the movie, they failed at their mission. The whole world got destroyed. The whole universe got destroyed. And they weren't able to protect everybody. But with God, that's not the case. Because no matter where you go, no matter what, He can protect you. He can protect you. And we don't realize that the same God who protected David against Goliath is the one who protects you. Or the God who protected Israel from Pharaoh protects us. Or the God who protected 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace protects us. It's the exact same God who protects us in our fiery furnaces, who protects us in our Red Seas, who protects us in our lions' dens. It's the same God, all right? And when we go to war or to battle, God has got us covered. And you're going to have some battles. You're going to have some battles. You're going to have some hills you have to climb. And I know we call it different things, whether it be a valley, hills to climb, whatever it is. You're going to have some stuff to face in this life. And if you haven't, keep on living. We're going to have some struggles that we're going to have to face. But I'm here to tell you that through everything, God has got you covered. He's got you covered. He watches out for you. There are things in our own lives that should. I said a quote. There's a quote I said. I said, I'm thankful for God's covering, because the things that should have killed me would have killed me. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Things that should have killed us would have killed us. There are situations that other people went through in their lives that killed them, and you had the exact problem they did, and it didn't kill you. You wonder why? Because it was God's covering upon you. He wrapped His arms of protection around you. And every morning I get up and I pray. And I say, God, watch out. I said, God, I pray for everybody, Lord. I ask you, wrap your arms of protection around them, Lord, and cover them in your blood. Cover them in your blood. And it's funny. God covers us in His grace and His mercy as well. He covers us in His grace and His mercy. There was this thing, when we used to travel up the highway, to go to Waco. One thing we'd always do is, before we left, we'd always pray for traveling grace. Because we don't know what's out there on the highway. We didn't know, and see, I always thought about that too. I always laughed about that because, you're not praying for just you, you're praying for them too, the other drivers. Because you know how you drive, you know how you go, but you don't know how everybody else is going to go. You don't know what obstacles is ahead on this road. You don't know what you're going to face on this road. But God has you covered on this road. Don't know that, though. You don't know what you're going to face. You don't know what's around the corner. And that first person protecting you is God. Because God knows the route. He knows how to get there. He can get you through it. Not only does He know the map, but He can get you through the map. Yeah. He can get you through it. He can get you through this road, right? And a lot of times we have different things. And I always imagine it as if this Christian road is like this journey that we're on is like a road, right? So here's my second prop. All right. What is this? A sheet, right? So this represents God's covering, all right? And so God has to take His covering is on us. And He wraps us in it, right? Now, no matter what man do, he can't take you from under God's covering. He can't. And so, try to pull on this rubber dance. Pull on it. No matter, okay, you can start. You can stop now. Pulling on it, no matter what, no matter how much they pull at you, and they will pull at you, they can't take you from under God's covering. They can't take you under God's covering. So when you walk and people gonna throw stuff at you. They're gonna throw stuff at you. They're gonna talk about you, right? And see, and the funny thing, people think always is physical attacks that'll get you. They'll attack you physically. But sometimes they'll attack you with their words. Their tongue will get you. And they'll try to attack you with their words. But you remember on this road that you're under God's covering. And don't mess with God's people either. Amen. And that's what people do. They mess with God's people. Take this off now. They mess with God's people. But I'm here to tell you that we're under God's covering. And God, like He said in the Word, will make your enemies your footstool. Yes, so when folks plot and plan, don't worry about when folks come against you. Don't worry about it. I pray for my enemies. I pray for my. They say what? And people always ask, why do you pray for your enemies, Reverend? You know, you should just pray for your friends and your family. No, I pray for my enemies too. Amen. I pray for them because they messing with God's people. That's why I pray for them. They messing with the man of God. I pray for them. They messing with the people of God. That's what we ought to do. We ought to start praying for our enemies. Praying for our enemies, you know. So, and that's what the Bible tells us to do. It tells us to pray for our enemies. Not just the people we like, but everybody. Pray for everybody. So when folks rise up against me, like I say, folks plan and plot. But guess what? I'm under the covering of God. We're under the covering of God. So, like I say, folks think they have the last say. But I can tell you that it ain't over until God says it's over. It ain't over until God says it's over. So no matter what they do, I'm under His covering. They can't do nothing. And like I say, I'm not saying that they can't do nothing to me. I'm not saying and I'm not saying that just because you're under God's covering, everything's going to be sunshine, and you won't have no bad days. And if I am, let me know, because I don't know what to deceiving nobody like that. But I'm telling you that when you go through something in life, what it means to have God's covering is when, no matter what you go through in your life, God's got you. He's got you under His covering. You're going to deal with stuff along the way. But like I said before, on this road, He'll have your back. He's got you covered. He'll have you covered. And before anything can come upon you, it has to go through God. That's right. He's our shield. So as I close, I want to say this. Remember always in battle that God is not only our sword, but our shield. Thank you. Good morning.